Hi, my name is Clive Paget and I'm editor-at-large for Australia's Limelight magazine. Listening to these performances today, it's hard to believe that John Eliot Gardiner's recordings of the Beethoven Symphonies are actually 25 years old. Not that Gardiner was the first person to play Beethoven on original instruments, but when this set came out in 1994, it represented not just an up-to-date survey of these 9 cornerstone works, it was an iconoclastic view not just of the music itself, but of the composer and the turbulent times in which he lived. Gardiner's interpretations have 3 essential elements. First of all, there are the instruments themselves. Many of them radically different from the 20th century instruments that listeners had grown accustomed to. Buzzy, purring gut strings are far more flexible than their modern equivalents, and by using fewer of them, and by recognizing that vibrato is very much a late 19th century addition, Gardiner was able to sculpt a far more lithe and leaner sound. Wood flutes are far less strident than their modern equivalents, and valveless horns are able to ride over the sound with an increased brilliance. Hard stick and smaller drums mean that the timpani are able to make their full effect, something which must have pleased Beethoven himself, who wrote for these instruments far more than any of his contemporaries or predecessors. And then there was the sheer proficiency of the playing. Up to that period, Beethoven had often had a sort of seat-of-the-pants quality. And one of the strengths of Gardiner's interpretations are the sheer elegance of his orchestra and how they rise to the challenge of Beethoven's demanding music. Gardiner was also able to revisit Beethoven's controversial metronome markings. Many critics had suggested that the composer's increasing deafness meant that he was unable to realize the detrimental effect of his rapid tempo markings on performances of his works. However, the lither and leaner period sound meant that some of these tempo actually came more realistically into play, and Gardiner's is among the most speedy of interpretations. Not that he was didactic in his approach. His keen instinct for drama means that it's never speed simply for speed's sake. And finally, and I think this is Gardiner's trump card, for him this is no mere academic exercise in hearing what these works sound like on instruments of the composer's period. No, Gardiner is interested in entering into Beethoven's mind, in trying to figure out why this particular man at this particular point in time decided to reinvent the symphony in this particular way, which means that for me these performances crackle with the radical energy of the early 19th century in a way that is totally unique.